Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Tyrone Dukes here with iManagement Solutions. I have my phenomenal co-host, Loida Figueroa, and we have an awesome guest with you on the platform this afternoon. We have Dr. Shay Lillard from Shay's Seafood and Restaurant. And guys, she has some power pack information that she's going to share with you today. She has a plethora of information that she wants to share, and we want to just give her this opportunity to share this wealth of knowledge with you on today. Thank you, Loida, for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Shay Little, for joining us. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. Let's rock and roll, guys.
Let's do it.
Let's
All
do it.
righty. So, Dr. Lillard, I was born and raised about 45 minutes from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I'm an avid seafood lover. And I'm just curious, what made you choose seafood as your platform in terms of the food that you offer your customers? Give us an idea of what made you choose seafood. I'm just curious about that.
Sure. So I have not eaten actual meat because it's controversy when you say meat and then seafood, but like chicken, beef, pork, and probably I want to say maybe 7 years or so. And throughout those times, did a lot of traveling, and my husband and I were big on going to like food truck events. And I realized that there were very few food trucks that catered to people who eat only seafood or pescatarians. And it was just like a light bulb kind of clicked like, there's a niche here, there's a void. And then moving forward, that just started maybe, 3 years into being a pescatarian. Then moving close to the whole COVID, I started really thinking of like ways to make money doing things that I actually love. And I found that it was the most, I guess the best time to start this business because everything was closed, but I was still able to get permits to operate outside. So I just like, I'm gonna go for it. But that's really where it started, just kind of walking around and seeing like there's really not many people or places that devote or cater to pescatarians.
Awesome. So I'm just curious. I know that you have these multitude of distribution methods, right? You have your food truck. You pretty much distribute your products in restaurants. Talk to us about that aspect in terms of, just give the audience an idea of the multitude of ways that they can obtain your food.
Sure. So again, once I started thinking about making this a business, I started to think about the many ways that you can sort of eat off of one sector of your business or aspect, I should say. And I didn't want to just think just short term, just a food truck, right? Because it's a lot of work in terms of having a food truck. There's nothing passive about it, and I'm always thinking long term of like how can I create some freedom. I can't be the person that's out there 7 days a week forever cooking, right? While I would love to, but I don't want to forever. So I started thinking of all these ways that I can um, make this live on without having to always be involved. So the first thing is once I started cooking, everyone was like, "What is this season with? Like it tastes like New Orleans." Everyone is always talking about like it tastes so southern, and I'm from upstate New York, so but my family is from the South. So that was like again a light bulb. Okay, seasoning immediately. It's time to package this, sell this, put this into stores. But first, I started just selling it on the streets while I was on the food truck. And it was kind of flying. I'm like, well, that's good, but it's only selling when I'm out here. So I started thinking of how can I get this into stores? And that's actually when I met Loida. I think the being member of the Chamber of Commerce, well, that's how we connected. But I started to post about these seasonings. So that was how that happened. Then I started to also think of other ways, getting them into stores and then eventually putting them into my vending machines as well and making
Yes.
that connection. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, and Lord has been on me
I
about this.
can't wait for that.
Yeah, so the thing with and I'm probably just kind of speeding through this process. So right now, you can get them e-commerce, of course, on my website, Shay Seafood and Soul. You can get them in stores, Fola International, Produce Village. But we're working on some other stores. But the idea is to ensure that people can get my product without me having to be there to sell it, if that makes sense.
It does. And ladies and gentlemen, listen, she's utilizing Loida to help in this distribution process. So already know that's going to be phenomenal. That is already off the charts because Loida is involved. We know that Loida is a heavy hitter in this area. So Loida, you're an absolute phenomenal individual. So Shay, Dr. Shay Lillard, you couldn't have picked a better person to work with in this particular area. So
it was definitely it was a divine connection, because I feel like when a person is as driven as Dr. Lillard is and just knows what their goals are and what they're shooting for, it makes it so easy to just be able to show her the path, and she just takes off on her own. And that's why I love partnering with her. I love working with her because she knows exactly what she wants and how she wants it. And the ability to be able to just walk in and present herself with her branding. I mean, she's just taking off, and I really believe and know that she's going to be the next big, seafood seasoning brand, and providing the best seafood options for her customers. There's always a long line every time she's out there selling her food, and she's constantly getting booked. So there's no other reason why wouldn't I want to work with her?
So speaking of long lines, I'm just curious, Dr. Lillard, what is your best-selling dish, and why do you think that dish is so popular?
And delicious.
I think it's a tie between the upstate platter and the Shay's platter. Both of them are similar. The only difference is the Shay's platter. You get everything on the menu. You get your fried lobster, your choice of catfish or whiting, in two sides. The fried lobster is extremely popular. And the fried okra is very popular as well because people really can't get that around here.
Oh my! My eyes just rolled in the back of my head just now because I'm sitting there imagining and just envisioning, this what this platter looks like, and I'm gonna take a trip one day. I'm gonna just have to fly up and test these dishes out.
Yes.
I know that again, if Lloyd is working with you, I know the dishes are phenomenal. I want to test them out myself, and
yes.
I'm not going to tell you when I'm coming. I'm just going to pop up and
pop up.
Listen, I was surprised that the whiting was my favorite. I was thinking the catfish, everybody raves about catfish. But when I tried her whiting, I was like, oh my gosh, I did not expect this. It was the best. And then of course her Shay sauce, that's coming.
Oh, and that's the next thing that I'm working on getting into stores as well.
Yes.
Awesome. So just again, I'm a curious person, Dr. Lillard. What separates your food truck from any other food truck out there?
First and foremost, we only specialize in seafood. Typically, when you find a food truck, they may have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I've had so many people asking me to cater events, and can I fry fish and chicken, or can I do this? And the difference is that I stand firm on I only offer fresh seafood. And I have yet to find a food truck that offers only fresh seafood.
That's key. I can tell you again, being an individual that was born and raised 45 minutes from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right? That's one of the challenges that I have in Atlanta. There's only like one or two restaurants that I can go to where I can actually get fresh seafood, because most of the other restaurants, I can tell that the seafood pretty much has been frozen for a couple of days because the taste has really been lost.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just for the simple fact that you're offering fresh seafood, that tells me a lot about your business. That even elevates me even more to take that flight down to Delaware to test this seafood out, because I know it's phenomenal, because it's fresh.